Joining us now is Congressman Russ Fulcher, a Republican serving Idaho's 1st congressional district. So, Congressman, a big conversation that's taken place over the past couple of weeks is looking back at what China did early on and really how it affected the U.S. response to the coronavirus outbreak. Knowing what we know now, do you think that it's time to hold China accountable for some of its actions?
You know, I do. And there's so much pride and arrogance within that leadership. They have known about this for a long time. We should not be surprised that they were not forthright, but they do need to be held accountable, and for a couple of reasons. First of all, within their own human rights and human safety component, they need to people need to be aware of the problems that some of their practices cause, these open air live kill markets and the potential for viruses being bred there, and just overall the compensation that needs to be restructured as a function of how much they cost the rest of the world by being non-transparent.
And I think it's worth pointing out, too, that this isn't even the first virus that has come from a wet market in China. And they've covered up this most recent one. We saw that dissenters were missing. I'll leave it at that. They haven't been heard from ever since. And China was straight up suppressing information coming out of the country, which led to the detrimental response of other countries around the world. And now looking back, kind of facilitating those actions, it seems like the World Health Organization was siding with China over scientists. When the president closed down the border with China regarding air travel, the World Health Organization said that there was no reason to do that, put out tweets saying that that was the wrong decision. Congress has the power of the purse. Is there any talks about maybe defunding parts of the World Health Organization?
There certainly is, and I think the president has made statements to that accord. The Senate has moved in that direction, and so has the House. And as of yesterday, I'm a signatory on a resolution that's coming through the House to do exactly that. And I would want to take it a step further. For the other entities, the other countries who don't agree with that, maybe we need to take another look at the foreign aid that we supply to them as well.
And once again, that would come back to the idea of holding China accountable, too, because the World Health Organization seems to be carrying water on their behalf. Every time that China would put out a false claim, it seemed to be, once again, repeated by the World Health Organization. And in fact, one of your colleagues in the upper chamber, Senator Marsha Blackburn, says in order to hold China accountable, they should be looking at maybe forgiving us for some of our debt. Of course, we have a lot of debt being held by China at this moment. Do you think that is a possible course to go down?
I think it's a good course to go down, but realistically, do I think that they're going to do that?
Right.
Probably not. Okay. I understand a number of things. China is going to promote their own self-interest. The only thing they understand is hard negotiations. But do I think realistically they're going to just forgive that? No, they're not. They would like to have the U.S. currency much more or much less impactful around the world. The U.S. currency is the primary currency on most large worldwide transactions. They would like to see that change, and so they're going to push the envelope to try to get that U.S. currency devalued and less influential around the world.
And we've already seen them even doing that before this coronavirus outbreak, them pegging their currency to our currency in order to devalue it. It's something that's been going on for years, even before the coronavirus outbreak. We saw it with the China trade war, which at one point was the big headline in the news cycle, and now it's been put to the side. But another big thing that's entered the news cycle is the most recent effort to get $250 billion into the hands of the American people, particularly small businesses. That hit a roadblock this morning, largely due to the efforts of your Democratic colleagues in the upper chamber. But we also heard House Speaker Nancy Pelosi saying she might not be on board with what's happening right now, too. Is there anything that's not in that bill that you would like to see be put into it?
I think at this point, about the only thing that we should be doing is potentially extending the time frame and potentially the lid a little bit on what's already been passed. If we try to go implement a whole bunch of other things into this when Congress is not in session, and this is largely being done remotely with conference calls and with video calls, that's just the wrong way to govern. And so at best, we should leave this thing alone with the possible exception of extending what's already there. And for the leadership, for the speaker, for Senator Schumer to try to insert things at this point, it's just It's the wrong thing to do, and that sends a wrong message. And I've got to believe the American people are going to see the truth there.
Kind of like they did in the last bill as well. And just for a refresher for our viewers too, Republicans were asking for $250 billion in line with the administration, and their Democratic colleagues wanted to double that amount, giving more to state municipalities, governments at the local level. So that's really where they're hung up on right now. But Representative Fulcher, I really appreciate you coming on, not only talking about China, but that bill that's making its way through Congress as well. Thank you.
Thank you.